Good evening. We had the Hooves on at Randwick today. They raced on the Kensington track. It was Villiers Day. Now during the week, besides all of the meeting, 100 runners going around to these country meetings that can't. A lot of them can't walk fast. You wouldn't feed them. Excuse me. People are betting on them. We had, beside all those meetings, we had, of course, on Wednesday, a meeting at Warwick Farm. And the talk before the first race at Warwick Farm, about 50 minutes to maybe about 50 minutes before the first race at Warwick Farm, was one of our well-known punters. He doesn't mind a bet. He's a fairly good dog judge as well as betting on the horses. The tab put up fixed odds for a dog race. I don't even know where it was, but he showed me the ticket. I didn't bother reading where it was, but he showed me the amount. They put up 6-4 a puppy, and as soon as it went up, he went over the window and he said, yes, I think he knew the tote operator. He said, could I have 1,000, I forget what number it was, 1,000, say it was number 4, 1,000 on number 4. So the operator, of course, went to punched 1,000 on number 4 at this dog meeting, and it came back and it said, look, you've got 16 on it. He said, oh no, I only want 1,000. But if you want to see, oh, all right, well, I'll have 1,600 on it. And she said, no, you've got 16 on it. She said, what do you mean 16? You've got all they'll take is $16. He said, are you serious? 24 to 16. And that's all they bet him. They wouldn't take any more than $16, and then they made it $2.10. Well, it is a fair income joke, isn't it? What is going on? It's just fair income nickels and dimes. You showed everyone too. You wouldn't, but it's not possible. The tab fixed odds. They keep on saying the tab. We're a bookie now too. You're the only bookie who doesn't bet top flucked. You've got to bet that if you're a bookie, you've got the only one. You're a bookie now, tab. Now, anyone out there who's looking or has got an account with the TAB, right? I've told you before. Write them a letter, ring them up, and you've all got to band together to make the tab like all of the other bookies, because they're a bookie too now. You've got to make them bet the best fluck, like we've got to. You can't let them get away with it. And so, make sure everybody gets on the bandwagon there and see if we can get it changed around so the tab, seeing they're a bookie now, that they should be betting the top fluck. Now, at this meeting at Warwick Farm on Wednesday, the rail was 5 metres out from the winning post, from the 1,000 metres to the winning post, and it was 3 metres after that, 3 metres after the winning post, and there was a very stiff sort of southwesterly or westerly breeze blowing. Now, this definitely, I think, along with maybe the inside section of the track, even though the rail was out that distance, we all went there thinking that the track was going to be diabolically up the inside, but it was completely the opposite. The fence, the wind had a lot to do with it. It was a good, solid, stiff breeze. And when they were coming down the side, the leaders were copping the brunt of it. There was one leader that won in a slowly run race. It was a race where there was a late scratching in the race, Darcy's Affair, there was race 3, who was always going to be up near the lead. And when it was scratched, the Life, number 2, it was able to go through and lead in this race with a runner called To Hell You Ride on its outside, who velodromed a bit to come and sit outside it. And the Life held on stayed close to the fence and won by a half a length. So I think you're entitled to give that one a little bit of an extra tick. But it was very obvious, the more you look at the meeting, it was very obvious that it was best to be off the pace and off the fence. So when you're doing your form, adjust to those circumstances. Then we went to last night. We had the night meeting at Canterbury, and I must say, even though we did have winners, a couple of winners or a few winners off the fence, most of the winners were on the fence leading or sliding through on the fence saving ground. It was definitely an advantage to be on the fence. The track was good. The rail was 6 metres out. There was only a very light nor'easterly blowing, which didn't have any effect. As I say, if you were able to save ground on the fence, it gave your chances of winning a lot better prospects than the runners that were wide. Of course, we saw a runner at Canterbury on last night running second, a runner called Fulminate. It was a very it was well, it should have trotted in, shouldn't it? We all saw. Have a look for yourself. Have a look at Fulminate in race 6. There was an announcement in that race before, well before the race, that Darcy Drama was going forward, which it did. It's trained by Gay, and Gay owns the lead, and it was ridden by A. Hieronymus, and he made sure after he hit the ground, he was drawn to inside Fulminate, ridden by Bowman, and he pressed on and found the lead. And my dear friend, who most maps had right up near the lead, if not leading, it was running second, and there was an opportunity. I think in this I think if you in this race you would have put any other rider on board Fulminate, they would have got home. You had L. Dittman, the 3 kilo lad, on Charzed. He would have got home on it. Father Schofield, J. Collette, T. Clark, P. Roble, and of course A. Hieronymus rode the winner. Anyone would have got home on it. It was a tragedy beaten. That was about that meeting. We turn to today at Randwick. Now, the track was, as I say, we raced on the Kensington track. The rail was normal, track was good. Oh my God! And there was no bias. The wind was a very strong south westerly. A little bit lighter towards the end of the day, but it was gusting fairly strongly at the middle of the day and before the first race. And the first winner there today, well, the flux, the last Sydney, the ring with our pros away at the moment on the Christmas holidays. The betting ring is not as vibrant as it generally is, and we saw a few fluctuations. I'll get to them later on at this meeting, but there were fluctuations during the week. You just know it's wrong because you only got to add up the percentage, and you can see it straight away. Well, for instance, in the last race at Warwick Farm on Wednesday, there was a runner returned 5-2. What was its name? It was called Corey Vecken. $3.60 was the top fluck. Well, I was $5 when they jumped. There's a little bit of difference, isn't there? 8% difference. And there was another runner during the day that was 230. I was 280 in the outside ring. I got some section out of them, not as much as I would have liked to have got, but I still was able to lay them. But the fluck was a bit funny. There were a few races here today. There's one race here today, which will be the only race I will give you the flux in, and there was 17% difference in what you could get in the marketplace and what was on the screen. Everyone, when you walk onto a race course, everyone, you do your best, and that's what everybody's doing. And the good old fluck, well, it stayed fairly solid. Now, this first race, they said there was 101.7 on the screen, only 97% in the marketplace, and this was won by Frespenol. It was very, very well backed. $5.50 into $3.80. It was taken straight to the lead by Tommy Terrific, trained by I Own the Lead, Gay, and he set the right tempo in the lead with Lofty Ambition, who's missed the kick slightly, sitting up looking at him, and it was able to hold on and beat the Avery, the Alfonso, who was ridden by Father Schofield. It settled down in last position, got inside runners turning for home, eased off heels, shouldered its way clear, ran on very well, but the bird had flown, which is generally the case in a lot of races that Gay and Tommy, her father, won up near the front out of trouble, and it was enough to to get it home. It beat the fast finishing favourite, the Alfonso, by 0.3 of a length, and the runner that sat outside the lead, Lofty Edition, was only 0.8 of a length away in third place. That was about the race there. Now, race two, this was a huge difference to me. The best back runner in the race, Moss Fun, having its first start, trained by the Hawks team, ridden by James McDonald. It sat outside the leader, who finished up running second. They ran first and second on the leader on the fence ran second. Winner on its outside, only beat it by 0.2 of a length. And it was sensationally backed, this first starter, from $4.60, which you wouldn't see. I think the best fluck was about, maybe $4.20. The $4.60 started $3.40, fairly hard to get. And as I say, it was sensationally backed, even though number one, Bio, it was, even though it started $4.20, it was 3 wide outside the 2 leaders on a limb, and it did a fairly good job to stick on and run third, beaten 3.2 lengths. At one stage, well, it went up about a 5 to 2 chance, got out to $4, $4.20 even, back into about $3.80. At one stage, I laid 9,000 to 3,000, and it was into $3.80, as I say, and that's when the winner went from $4.20 out to $4.60, but then it was sensationally back, and it got back out to $4.20. Bio. It led on the fence Jewel Star, who had the one run at Rose Hill, trained by Paul Massara, and they fought it out all the way down the straight, Moss Fun in it, and Moss Fun was able to maybe get his head in front at about the winning post, and it did try to kick back on the inside, but it just had that margin around about the furlong of a head in front, and it was able to beat it by that margin when they got down to the line. There was a runner that made up a lot of ground down the outside that race, Princess Command. It finished well, and the other runner that was well in the market, that was another first starter, trained by Waller, Super Willie. It missed the kick. I thought it was eased at the start. It raced a bit ungenerously. Looks like it's a bit of a fairly big strider. It copped a little bit of a check. It made up plenty of ground, but it was beaten 5.2 lengths and never ever going to win. That race there, they said there was 107 on the screen, but there was 5 less in the marketplace, about 102. In the third race, they said there was 102.4 on the screen, and there was most certainly less in the marketplace, around about 99. And this was won by the favourite, Corabetti, who sat in the 1-1 position, given a good ride by brilliant Brendan Abdullah. And when they turned for home, leading on the fence was Rulebook, trained by Gay. I own the lead. They said they were going to ride it more forward today, and they did. It went straight to the lead, and it showed. This is the run today was by far its best run since coming overseas. As I say, it stuck on very well. It would have been a big result for the captains. It went from $16 out to $26. The winner, even though it got out in the market from $2.80 out to $3.20, it was backed all the way out. Every time the price was there, whether it be the $2.90 or the $3, the $3.10 or the $3.20, it was liable at that price all the time. As I say, it was sat in the 1-1. The runner that sat outside the leader, Chestnut Road, it held on for third. There was 1.3 lengths margin between first and second when they got down to the line. The winner was a fairly solid run, but it did get a good run. It went very poorly in that race. Blow in your mind. When I say poor, it got beat 5. It had every chance. It sat directly behind the leader on the fence, was beaten 5.2. Race 4, well, here in this small field, Mr. Waller had 3 runners in the race. He had the favourite, the second favourite, and the rank outsider of the field, a 15-2 chance, Permit, who was trapped wide. I pointed out at that meeting at Rose Hill where the fence was diabolical, was a diabolical advantage. And it was 3 wide all the way, ridden by Bowman. Bowman was on board again today, and he settled very well, travelled well for him, and Bowman was able to get him home. The difference in the market here, well, they said the best luck, My Lucky Day, was $5. Well, it was started $5.50 on the fence. No, $5.50 always available. And the bottom one here, Martin Vast, they said the best luck was, I think, $5. Well, there was a mile of $5.50 about it as well. And there was also $3.50 given about Secessio, which you wouldn't see. The runner that was hard to lay in this race was Hoy Lonnie, who went from $3.50 out to $4.60. Of course, the rider of the second horse here, excuse me, oh my God, that Pooty Blue. The rider, oh my God, Martin Vast, D. Thornton. Well, this was a race, of course, where apprentices couldn't claim. When the gates open, it slightly reared and it lost 3/4 to a length. And when they went out the straight the first time, not a very long run to the winning post, it was last. And a runner, I think it was Permit, in front of him, it shifted out. It shifted out slightly, and the boy was in 2 minds what to do. And instead of, I thought, staying where he was, he didn't. He took off, and by the time they'd got into the back straight, he had got to the lead and set up a good margin at the time, about a good 6 lengths in front of Successio, who finished up running a clear last, beaten 5.5 lengths. It was running second. By the time they'd got to the turn, My Lucky Day had taken off, the others had taken off, and it was actually headed Martin Vast by at least 2 runners, but then kicked through again on the fence and was beaten 0.8 of a length by Permit, the rank outsider of the field. Maybe if it didn't miss the kick and went straight to the lead and settled for him, or after missing the kick, he stays back in last position and waits until he goes out of the back straight. and makes his run, I'd say that there's a good chance run this race over again, and Martin Vast would win the race. After I do my prices, I'm going to mark it the favourite. Now, race 5, God, there was a lot of purr here. The robots would be so pleased. 113, they said on the screen, and there was only about 5% less in the marketplace, about 108. And Holy Delusions, well, the SP on Holy Delusions and the best fluck was $15, a 14 to 1 chance. Well, I was $18 when they jumped. And another runner, which I don't think you'd see, was Maysoon. They said the best fluck Maysoon was the second horse, was $3.70. Well, there was plenty of $4 about Maysoon. It ran a good race. It was always up near the lead. It sat second. There are a couple of runners that got trapped wide in this run, Cannery Row and also Amarachi. The winner, it sat well back in the field with cover. They ran along at a good clip, and when they topped, when they flattened out, this runner, Holy Delusion, with the 51.5 on its back, 3 under the limit, it was eased to the outside by the capable Ichikawa, and it came down the outside, and it was able to beat Maysoon in the last more or less 1.5 hops. It was 0.1 by 0.3 by 0.4 when they hit the line. Holy Delusions, it beat the favourite Maysoon, and Breakfast in Bed, who was held up just very slightly. It was just that 0.4 of a length away back in third position. And not far away behind it was I've Got the Looks, ridden by the 3 kilo girl, Miss Carly Cross. She missed the kick slightly. She was held up, again only slightly, but maybe with the, well, the 3 kilos obviously helped, but with a stronger rider, there's a good chance it might have got home. But run that race again and you would get a few different results. We came to race 6, and here, this is very fat, 115.3 for the robots. They would have been very, very pleased. And in the marketplace, I must say, it's the best purr I've seen for a long time in the Sydney Ring, with quite a number of runners liable, 108%. And this was the Villiers, of course, and it was won by 9th Legion, who we only put up a $10 chance, 9 to 1, and 9 to 1, and it got out to as much as, I saw plenty of 14 on the fence, but it came back in to start only $11, 10 to 1. So it was at least 13 to 1, $14 back into its original, or a point over its opening price at around about 10 to 1. So it was back. The difference in the 7 or 8% straight away, Tax Me If You Can, the top fluck about Tax Me If You Can, after opening up $4.60, it got to $5 according to the fluck screen. I was $6.50. I was $6 for most of the betting, and I was $6.50 at the finish of betting. So there's about 5% difference straight away. It sat well back in the field. Tax Me If You Can. It ran second last, beaten 9.6 lengths. The trainer saying that, and the rider saying that the saddle shifted slightly on it, and the trainer saying it's had enough. It's been up for a good while. It's now going for a spell. When it sat back, tried to push its way clear after flattening out, but it, as the trainer has pointed out, it's had enough, and it ran very poorly. It went fairly fast in front. The designated leader, Listen Sun, It finished up running last, 11.8 lengths, never left the fence. Looking at it all of the way was the winner, Ninth Legion, who I think I might have pointed out, it did. We all saw got into a stack of trouble at Rose Hill last start and wasn't tested to the line. It looked at the leader all the way, and there was a good 2.5 to 3 lengths back to Limes, who finished up running second, copped a small prat, and inside it, who finished up running fourth. So the first, the runners that sat second, third, and fourth finish up running. And Destiny, Alma's Fury, who was running fifth in the race, they ran 1, 2, 3, 4. There was as I say, there was a bit of a break behind Strike the Ninth Legion to Limes, but Limes moved up after they'd flattened out and looked like it was going to put in a serious challenge, but it was only very short-lived. The winner fought on very strongly to win by 0.8 of a length. Coming off Limes back was Alma's Fury, as I say, running third, and getting a suck up on the fence from barrier 1. Monton ran fourth in the race. Everyone who watches the replay will see there was a runner in this race, Destiny's Kiss, who settled down second last on the fence, ridden by Christian Reith. He was making a run up on the inside, saved a lot of ground turning for home, got inside a lot of runners. The leader he tried to get inside of, and that was Listen Sun, who was weakening fairly badly at the time he was trying to get inside it, and he got stopped in his tracks, lost all of his momentum and got going again. It was beaten only about 2.5 lengths. There's a good chance if it would have got the uninterrupted run at the time, there's a good chance that this runner could have easily gone through and won this race. Or maybe if it would have drawn a different barrier, well, it had barrier 7 and went back to, he found the fence back in last position. Maybe if he would have been able to come down the outside, slotting in somewhere, he might have won also. But as I say, if he would have got a run, there's a good chance, well, he would have made it very, very interesting. If not, you could go as far as to say might have won the race. Race 7. Now here it's very, very fat again. It's because of the fluck. Well, I'll tell you about the fluck here. The fluck on the screen, you just know it's wrong straight away, was 118.1. There was about 107 in the marketplace, about 11% less. And the two runners you can see straight away where there's a good bit of percentage. King Cobia, the winner, who was ridden by Nash, sat second outside the leader, one more grand. Nash velodromed on it, came across and sat outside. The best fluck is $2.90. I gave $3.60. I think I was still $3.50 when they jumped. So, 28% versus say about 35 or 34. You're looking at a good 6% difference there. And the other runner where there was a good bit of difference was for a rainy day. They said the top fluck was $6.50. Well, a blind man, it was $8 on the fence. I was $8, and you could have got, we might have even been able to get $8.50. But plenty of $8. The top fluck was $6.50, about it. It finished up running third, and of course, King Cobia won the race. It sat outside, as I say, one more grand. They were well off the fence. Sucking up behind the two leaders was the second horse, Reflectance, who was very well backed from about $15 I saw into about $9, fairly hard to get, and on its outside New Day Rising, and he got an uninterrupted run really, maybe held up just slightly the second horse reflectors, but Nash rode very, very vigorously over the last 20 metres, really pushing King Cobia's Gregory Peck out right on the line, and that was most probably the winning margin. It won by a nose, 0.1 of a length. It wears a nasal strip, King Cobia, and run this race again, and I'd say you'd get a couple of different results as well. It did make up plenty of ground for a rainy day without more or less ever look likely to win the race. And Turbulent Jet, as usual, got back and also made up ground. Now, we came to the last race, and this is where there's 17% difference in what you could get and what was actually in the marketplace. So what an advantage it is to be on course. It's just a huge advantage. I just don't know how punters survive betting off course. The marketplace, it's the only place to be if you are a serious punter. Now, these were the flux in the last race on the Kenzo Villiers Bay meeting today. Zaratone went from $8. They said the best fluck was $9. Well, I was $12 when they jumped, 11 to 1. The top fluck aeronautical was $5 out to $5.50. That's definitely right. Hidden Warrior was $12 out to $15 into $14, but back out to $17 or $16 at least. And then we had Straight Albert. It was 80 out to 100. Pamplone, they took my $18 at one stage. It was 16 out to 18, back into 16 or even 15, but back out to $18 at the finish. Now, then we come to Heart Tester. Heart Tester, I think you might find the best fluck, well, it'd be flat out being $3. There was as much as $4 given in the outside ring. I gave $3.60 for a bucketful and $3.50. It did start $3.20 on the fence and in the outside ring. $4 given. I think the best fluck might be only $3 or even $2.90. Master Harry was 20 out to 40. Uarte was 30 out to 60, back into 40. Ollie Volley was 40 out to 60. Now here we have another runner where the fluck and what you could get are completely different, a good bit of percentage. They say the top fluck about Safeguard was $4.60. It went up $5. It went up $5. I was $6. There was $6 given during the betting and plenty of $5.50, and it was $6 on my board and another board on the fence when they jumped. The runner that was scratched at the barrier, so there's 22 and 16. You've got nearly 5 odd percent there, getting close to 6% difference there. The next runner, D&G, it was scratched at the barrier. It was $11 out to 13, back into about $9. And Jack and Obey, he wouldn't see it. It was 13 out to 16, back into about $12 and 11 to 1 chance. It went straight to the lead, coming across from the outside alley. Zaratone, ridden by Killer Calf, doesn't seem to go well at Randwick. It's at not a torrid pace. Looking at it all of the way was Pampelone, who ran a cheeky race, obviously improved. On its outside was the favourite, an Avery Heart Tester, and the winner, ridden by Bowman, with D&G out of this race, who drew an inside alley. Bowman was able to, after going a furlong and a half, pass about 4 runners and then slide from barrier 2 right along the 18 pence. He was and got inside a lot of runners, and when they turned, by the time they'd turned for home, he was in about 5th position on the inside. That was a very good position for Aeronautical to be in because it has a very strong finish. They finished well off the fence. By the time they'd flattened out and got down to the furlong pole, Heart Tester, who hung out fairly badly under pressure over the last 50 metres, it looked like it had the measure, not getting away from it, but going to be able to beat Pampelone, which it did only by about 0.3 of a length. And it was getting past it. And then it didn't look like maybe that Aeronautical was going to be able to get up on the inside of the pair, but it has got that strong finish, and it was able to, the last little bits, the last 50 metres, show its more or less fighting instincts, and found the line a little bit stronger than the other pair, and the margins were 0.3 by 0.5. It sucked up along the fence Ollie Volley, coming from about third last position into 4th hole, beat about 2.1 lengths. It got trapped a bit wide in the run, Hidden Warrior, but that was about that was how the race was run and how the meeting went. Now I'm out of my feet, and we've got, of course, this meeting on tomorrow at Hawkesbury, where you're mad if you don't come. You're mad if you don't come. Come up and bring your section with you, and we'll bet you the top fluck. We'll bet you the top fluck, not like that filthy TAB. They bet you the bottom. They want to bet you under the unders. So as I told you at the start of this, make sure you write a letter in and say, how come you're a bookie now, you filthy TAB, the cancer of racing, and you don't bet top fluck like all the other bookies do? Good evening.